Hi, welcome back to the Chasing Tone podcast. I'm Travis.
I'm Max.
Brian.
I'm Frank.
Okay, nice. Well, I have some news, right? There's been a lot of people. I read the comments. Thank you for the nice ones. The bad ones I listen to. So much so, especially the ones saying I talk too much, that I've decided not to talk anymore. No, for real though. This is my last episode of the Chasing Tone podcast as a host of Chasing Tone podcast. I can't,
Hashtag boo.
Did you say boo? No, I have received an opportunity so far removed from the musical instrument industry, but I received an opportunity that I really couldn't pass up. And if there's one thing Brian has always preached to everyone is personal growth and development.
And stay out of the music
And
industry.
stay out of the music industry.
You got to
Grow all you want as long as it's not into my
Yeah,
space.
right. Yeah. Grow all you want as long as you're not competition. But no, I've got an opportunity and I've accepted said opportunity. This isn't a take this job and shove it kind of situation. Right. It's because I hope to still be back as a guest every now and then.
Maybe you could do a guest appearance.
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like I should let you guys know so it's not just like poof, like what were you saying, a cloud of smoke, and then I'm just gone. You know what I mean? Right. But enough of that. Oh, by the way, thanks for listening and giving me a voice and playing along with my stupid hashtags. Aww. I guess I got to say, I need some clear eyes so I can put it on here. There's a tear. Can you do that on the computer?
Yeah, just put in like horrible Photoshop. Like, just ridiculous.
Where's just coming out?
Yeah.
Not bad for a little talent show.
Yeah, not bad. Oh, now Bob's got to edit that.
You're welcome.
So we've had we did pretty good for a crappy little talent show, right?
Yeah.
But okay, let's get down to the tone aspect of this Chasing Tone, and that they're like. Because the people who hate me anyways, they're like, oh, my God, he's still talking about how he doesn't talk anymore. Leave now.
Yeah, right. And now he's talking about leaving.
Yeah.
Just stop talking and let Brian talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's back.
You guys aren't getting rid of me because, like I said, this is the last one. But
I have 20 minutes, and I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how some guitarists play all the notes? Travis says all the words. Yeah. He's going to say all the words before we yell cut.
True.
He's going to say all the words.
But, okay, so do you care if we just use Frank on this one? Or do you want to save that for later? For you guys.
Oh, just do it already.
All right, fair enough. Have you tested? We have not done it on the podcast, but obviously Frank has tested this. But I'd like to hear your findings. Have you tested the Fishman Pickups that Frank Falbo spoke about on your podcast, the Fluence?
Yes.
I've played them. I don't know what he means by like test. I mean, yes, I've played them. They sound great. And how do they compare to traditional Gibson PAFs and Strat pickups? You should make a comparison video. Well, I don't have the access to a bunch of pickups to be able to make a video. But
Send us the pickups, though, with in guitars.
Yeah, in the same guitar.
Yeah.
I'll put a set in my
preferably nice one.
I'll see what I can do.
But
no promises.
But obviously, you've tested them against, not tested, but compared them to other pickups. And you've spoken in the past about how you can actually voice individual pickups to get the tones of the PAFs and things like that. So,
I mean, when we were voicing them, obviously there's target pickups in mind. You can make new pickups that sound new and weird, and no one will like them, and that's ridiculous. So, but I talked about this on another podcast. You can also get one kind of pickup, like a PAF type of pickup, or a JB-ish thing, or whatever, and you buy 10 of them.
What's JB mean?
Oh, it's yes, Jazz Blues is the official meaning.
Okay.
But
did you know? I never knew.
I was Joe Bonamos.
No, the old one, because you'll see old people. But go ahead.
So Seymour made those pickups for Jeff Beck at some point.
Okay.
And you don't use those people's names unless there's
Signature.
names and likeness agreements and things like that. So
Gotcha.
It was just easier just to call it that.
Jazz Blues. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just and it was the 70s, and there wasn't a lot of pickup names being used at the time, and so it was just a normal. It was just a name to use. So But you buy 10 of them and they're all kind of different, or you go through 100 vintage PAFs and there's holy grails in there and there's some dogs in there, So yeah, we used obviously like the best examples. Like one of my JBs happens to be a double cream one from the 70s that says the JB model on the bottom and a sticker. Yeah, it's a holy grail JB. Butyrate bobbins.
Can I have it?
Nope. And butyrate. So just, and it's aged by now, and it's just, it's a really good one. And so, but if the question is like, am I going to put these in and then get some sort of a different feel, like when I put in, like when someone switches to like EMG active style pickups or something like that? Like, no. If you're a PAF fan, then the classic PAF voices of Fluence should hit you like right in the comfort food. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like it's everything that you want. It's more of all the things that you want in one, and it's less of the things you don't want and things like that. And literally last night I was with a friend of ours. He has EMGs sitting in a guitar, and he's like, I don't have a soldering iron, so I can't. I've been meaning to try these Fluence pickups that he bought. He bought the moderns, and I was like, oh, it's a quick connect plug-in. I'm like, you can hear it. We can just hear the voices before we wire it up, And we're just at the guy's house.
Right.
He plugs into the amp. I plug it in, and he's like, and it happens with everybody, like all grins. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Where it's like, I can feel what you're talking about. I can tell what you're talking about. It's the stuff I want.
Right. And the thing that really intrigues me about the Fishman Fluence is the consistency from pickup to pickup.
Yep.
That's the thing that intrigues me, because unfortunately, unless you're willing to do like what you do, and that's trash a lot of parts or not be able to use them in a specific pedal due to the tolerances and due to the specs and how they're measuring, unless you're willing to do that, you cannot get consistency on almost anything.
Right.
You can't build a tube amp or a guitar pedal and just order parts and not test them and then put them in and play. You can, but if you do that again, they're not going to.
They do.
Yeah.
But it just widens the window.
Exactly.
And same thing with pickup making. Now, I don't care what kind of science you employ in normal pickup wire winding. I mean, the annealing process of the wire, produces inconsistencies in the wire. I mean, you have a window. You can have a tighter window than your competitor and say, well, my pickups are more consistent than this guy's, because this guy's hand scatter winding, which sounds pretty good, but hand scatter winding?
That's the thing that's
that
always
is not
troubled me.
I'm sorry, I don't care. I mean, how do you rectify that? You're like,
maybe
well,
if you can play
it's going to
10
be
of
more
them.
consistent because I'm doing it by hand. Like, no, but so I'd have to make a robot that did the thing you did by hand, make it exactly the same every time. But then that's not hand scatter winding. That's machine winding, but in a different, scatter pattern.
So you want the tolerance without the tolerance.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way. It just can't be done.
Right.
So pickups they'll have a window. Cymbals are the same way. Play a cymbal. It's like you should play one before you buy it. You can mail order them, but if you have a chance to try a couple of different cymbals, go play them, because they just can't. It just can't be done. The way that they're smashed out and lathed and everything like that, they can get close, and then it's still up to you. There's still going to be some variance between them, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that variance, but
that's what. But you can also see why it's intriguing to me to have something that's not supposed to be that way, be that way.
Yeah,
because traditional thinking and everything has taught me that you can order the world's best pickups, but you may have to order 3 or 4 of them to find before you find that holy. Like you said, the PAFs.
Yeah.
I mean, how many are you really going to find?
They're all over they're all over the map.
Just like, and I always go back to amps, but like I had a 1965 Deluxe Reverb, which is supposed to be one of the holy grail of amps.
Yeah.
It was a turd.
Yeah.
I have your Hot Rod Deluxe or whatever smoked this amp. Like not even in the same cat.
Yeah.
I retubed it. I recapped it. I tried everything without dropping serious money into the amp.
Yeah.
And I even, I wound up selling the amp. I put a video of me playing it up so people knew exactly what it sounded like.
Right.
And somebody out there thought it was brilliant.
Yep.
And maybe they made it sound better than I did.
Yeah.
But
great.
dude, there's just because it's old and vintage doesn't mean it's not a turd.
Well, what's funny is some of the most pristine vintage like acoustic guitars and even electrics, if you find like the clean ones, it's like, well, that's because in the 60s and the 70s,
Nobody
and the
dug
80s,
it.
They didn't like it. Like, nobody played it because
Right.
it wasn't a good one. You know,
Yeah.
and so now you're like, oh my gosh, it's not even scratched.
Museum
you know,
quality,
it's like, well,
bro.
yeah, because no one played it. And there's the other stuff like, well, nobody played it and therefore it wasn't vibrated, you know, so it didn't
Right.
age well, you know, because it wasn't played. And that part's true as well. But that's the fun. Like I said, that's the kind of the funny part about finding a dead mint 1950s or 60s something
Yeah.
or other. It means that like in the 70s, somebody was like, I don't like that one.
Yeah.
I don't
You
mean
know?
any of that.
Yeah.
Or can mean that, right?
Yeah. Right.
There's always closet classics. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Or there's the flip side. Like I would put my Plexi, my 68 up against anything.
Yeah.
And it's all original. So I kind of worried because when I looked at it, like here's a little tone nerd thing that people might like or might not. But the old vintage Marshalls, when they left the factory on the turret board where the solder joints were, they would put red dye on them. And that way you could tell if somebody's messed
Sure.
with it, if the red dye was gone. Well, you know, and obviously you can replicate the red dye, but the red dye over age would tarnish and oxidize and turn to gold. So you have to know what to look for. But anyway, I did my research. I ran this amp by a couple techs. It was all original except for one tube socket and the standby switch.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, oh man, it's all original. I wonder if it never got played, da-da-da-da-da. But the cabinet was thrashed.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, it's a good one. and you know what? I was right. I got lucky. But
Yeah.
like you said, most of the time when you see something all original, pristine, and vintage, not necessarily because it was taken care of. It's because it was shelved.
Right.
Right.
It could be, yeah.
But and back to the consistency of the pickups.
Yeah.
I think that to me alone is the intriguing to why I would say, for instance, let's say you're playing somebody else's guitar and it has some type of PAF clone.
Sure.
You're like, oh man, that sounds great. Then you go buy it and you're like, sounds good, but something's missing. Is
Yeah.
it my guitar?
Right.
Well, the thing is if you hear somebody playing a Fishman Fluence, then you can go buy that same pickup,
Right.
and in that
And
case,
you'll
it is
know
your
the
guitar.
right. You'll know that the difference is tracking the guitar.
Exactly.
And we did count. I mean, I've worked with pickups a long time. We've done countless tests, just depending on whatever it was we were designing at the time. But where you test a pickup, and you have two guitars that are identical, right? And we even went so far. I've done this for several different companies now, but building guitars that are from the same tree, the same planks of wood. So that's as identical as it's ever going to
Right.
get. But then even still, you perform those tests, you get to where you understanding what it is you're listening for, and then you swap the pickups and you see if the difference is, if the,
The
delta
guitar.
follows the pickups or if it follows the
The
guitar.
guitar, right.
And of course, when you make the guitars be the same, it follows the pickups almost all the time. But you can perform tests with a couple of Epiphone Les Pauls or something where
Right.
they're
And the
not
tolerances are-
they're
yeah.
not that great. Maybe they're kind of different from one another. But as long as you cross-check it like that, you'll know. And so you don't need fancy special stuff to be able to
Just need
determine
really
it.
good ears.
You need good ears, and you need to know, like I said, you need to just take the time to now flip it
Right.
and make sure that what you're hearing is in the guitar versus whether it's in the pickups, But yeah, having consistent pickups, and then what's cool about the Fluence is the frequency response is so big, the dynamics are so sensitive that it's like in a mediocre guitar, it's still going to make that guitar sound better. And then, but not in such a way like that masks the sound of the guitar, like, oh, the pickups are just taking over.
Right.
It's really open.
See, I have a
and-
guitar I wish the pickups would take over.
Yeah, so well, we can talk about that too.
Okay.
But it's so open and dense in the sound, like in the actual tonal, density, that if you put it in a $4,000 guitar that has all these great acoustic properties, like you're gonna hear those
Nice.
better than if you had stuck in, a passive PAF type of pickup.
Right. And something we've
There you go.
if it's something we've talked about before, Brian, is the ear for tone. You know what I mean? Like just about anybody can build a pedal. I mean, and not trying to take away from what you do, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Right.
Because you have to be able to hear it. That you have to get over your own pride a little bit. You have to get over your own and be like, I built this. You have to be like, I built this and it sounds like a turd.
Right.
What could I have done different? And
there's a big difference between building a couple pedals for yourself and
right.
building a couple thousand pedals.
Well, of
all
course,
the same thing.
of course. But the thing is that's what drives me nuts is like if people don't realize that the ear is the most important thing. That's why hearing you do all these tests, not just like, well, on paper, the math says they should be the same. Right. It's like, okay, that might be a good baseline to start. You know?
Man. Yeah, you have no idea how many discussions I've had with engineers who will tell you that these two things are the same. And that's like your first clue that it's time to dig a little bit deeper, because I talked about this in the other podcast, but it's like our ears and our biofeedback loop with an amp. I mean, it's so sensitive. It's like we can hear, our body is constructed in such a way that, a little tiny stick breaks and we're like, oh, that was a deer right over there, if you're hunting or whatever, and
or a wolf.
Yeah, it's like there's so many things that we can bring, that we can sense, that I'm not one of those guys that says like the human body is more, is better than machine necessarily, but
Hashtag John Henry.
But by the time you blow this stuff up, there's stuff that's hard to measure.
You don't get that?
John Henry.
Henry's hammer versus the steam engine? You know what I'm talking about? The original man versus machine who could dig the tunnel fastest? Am I making this up?
No.
Am I making
It's just that I'm not knowledgeable in this area.
Right. It's a real story anyway.
Was that from lacking books or something?
Yeah, remember, I barely went to high school.
But you mentioned bears, and that terrified me, and it got my mind thinking about something. So, like, I have a voice. But anyway.
For 15 more minutes.
Yeah. But my wife, I have a huge fear of bears.
Yeah.
True.
And it is not an unjust fear. They will
should.
track
Totally
you.
unjust.
They should, they will track you. They will stalk you, and they will kill you.
Right.
They don't want to do it for food.
And to completely ruin your credit.
Exactly. It's true. But so we're camping, and of course we go to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee because that's like where.
Wait, stop. By camping, you mean staying in a log cabin with 4 rooms and a pool table?
But I had to walk my dogs. I had to
Outside.
walk my dogs.
Camping.
Yeah. But okay, so we're vacationing. But anyway, she made me go on these nature hikes, right? And of course I hear sticks breaking all around me. And of course, to me, they're logs and they're bears.
That's setting off
Right.
your panic alarm.
So right. So I'm sitting there freaked out the whole time.
probably a
Can't even
blue jay.
enjoy the scenery, and I'm doing this whole number, turning my head on a swivel. And my wife's like, "Oh my God, would you just relax?" Da 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 da. So then, like 2 minutes
That's
later,
how she sounds, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
When she's nagging.
You say you
But-
realize all I have
If
to do is
this wasn't,
outrun you, right?
Yeah.
if this wasn't your last podcast, it would have been for another reason.
right.
Yeah.
She
This
doesn't
may
watch
be
these. She doesn't watch
your
these.
last appearance.
My wife cares
anywhere.
about guitar tone about as much as I care about HGTV. You know what I mean? God, which is always on my television.
That's all right. We'll forward her this one.
Yeah, good. But anyway, so we're walking, and I see like a little stick. I'm like, watch out. You don't know if that's a stick or a snake. She almost takes off running. And she's like, I hate snakes. I hate snakes. I'm like,
Yeah.
right? You see where I'm going? Enough
Yes.
said. Whatever. Bears will kill you. Snake will make you step somewhere else.
Or kill you.
Can't ride a unicycle. I can't.
Yeah.
No.
Bear
Yeah.
can,
They're
yeah,
evolving.
juggling bear.
They're evolving.
I had a snake in my driveway last night, actually.
There's a snake in my
I was
boot.
just saying, I've had to take my boot. Just do my thunder.
Again.
I don't know.
The question was,
We always kind of tend
Yeah.
to go down some bad
Yeah.
with it.
Well, being the last episode, I mean,
And then we ate cheeseburgers.
hey, now you won't have to chase
can let 'em-
topics anymore,
Yeah.
right?
let him go a little bit.
Man, there's all kinds of
Let the
pickup
baby
stuff.
have his bottle.
Yeah, let the baby have his bye-bye. But
Yeah, we can say that.
yeah, say there's a couple there. But even after I'm gone, can you ask the one about pickup placement? Because I really want to know that
What
one.
was the pickup placement there?
The one we don't have time for it, but
Sure we do.
okay. So here's a question I have.
It's our show. We'll do what we want.
Yeah, it's my crappy talent show for 10 more minutes. But but anyway, this is one that I've asked Brian. He's like, I don't know. I should ask Frank. And so the placement of pickups between the bridge and the neck. And let me elaborate real quick. Like you said earlier, because I kind of asked you a little bit, but the main reason this ever came up was one of my favorite guitars is a 330, and obviously that's P90s But the first ones, like in the early 50s, I believe, only had one pickup mounted more towards the center.
Right.
And then they started adding two pickups, which obviously changed. I mean, I guess it'd be closer to the bridge than it would be the neck. But, and I was telling, I played one that was a one pickup and I fell in love with it. And then I was telling this guy, Dave Bryant, who owns a store, my favorite store called Six Strings Down in Plainfield. And there's a plug, Dave. But anyway, I was telling him that I really want a 330. And I hadn't even considered it. And he was just like, yeah, just which one do you want? Like what year? And I said, well, I played one this. He goes, now be careful because I had one pickup.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, the other ones had two. And it still didn't click. I'm like, well, then I'd want that one.
Right.
And he
Two
was
is
like,
higher number.
yeah. So he was like, no. He was like, you got to realize the placement, the sweet spot's
Yeah.
completely different. You don't know which one you like. So you need to play a two pickup version before you make that decision,
Right.
especially when it's a $3,000
Right.
guitar.
What were you falling in love with, the guitar or the sound of a middle pickup?
Exactly. So in your experience, is that something you experiment with, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the pickup locations have kind of ended up where they are by tradition, so.
I got another question, but go ahead.
Okay. And so if you're going to make a Strat, you put the pickups where they are in a Strat.
Right.
Like don't mess with it. You know what I mean? A Telly, put it where a Telly is. Same thing with like a two humbucker guitar. But there are a lot of internet myth type things going around where it's like there's a sweet spot because of harmonic nodes and things like
Right,
that.
of course.
And
that's science,
It can't be that can't be true on a guitar because every fret you walk
It
up,
shortens or lengthens
yeah,
the scale.
it changes, right. And so it's like, and I'm not saying there aren't magic spots for pickup locations. I'm just
Some
saying
guitars resonate in different.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying don't worry about where the harmonics are in the thing. You know what I mean? Because if you adjusted for something, then it's like, well, then if I play an F, it's wrong.
Right.
For that. So really what we're talking about is the distance from the bridge.
Right. Okay.
And so with the bridge pickup, you're doing okay? With the bridge
I
pickup.
was just thinking, why just play an E? Solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Just play every song in E.
Open
and
tuning,
then just
baby.
pitch ramp it in Pro Tools. So,
Or the James Tyler Variacs.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So with the bridge pickup, if you move it closer to the bridge, it gets really screamy and whiny. Obviously because there's smaller movements in the bridge create a more drastic difference because they're close to the edge of the string, right? So it's exponential. I like a neck pickup as close to the neck as possible. That's just how I like it. So in a 24 fret guitar, it's now bumped back a couple of frets worth. And so then maybe if you don't use a mounting ring and you jam it right up against the fretboard edge, that's better than like having 24 frets, having a little gap, and a mounting ring,
Right.
and a humbucker. It's like, man, that's almost like where a middle pickup is, you
Right.
know? And if anybody wants to think like, no, it's based on like the nodes and all the rest of this stuff, it's like, if that were true, then when I'm fretting the 20 or 22nd fret,
Yeah.
my neck pickup would sound like a bridge pickup, wouldn't it? Because it's
think.
right there
Right.
by the fulcrum point, and it doesn't.
Right.
So it's really back, everything's kind of based on the location of the pickup against the bridge. And if you have a
Right.
20 fret guitar and you run the neck pickup up against the 20th fret, it's even neck pickup-ier.
I'm
it's
sorry,
cool.
21 fret guitars make no sense, but go ahead.
Right, it's the extra note that you'll never need.
Yeah,
But Yngwie still bends that one all the way up.
Well, but
you
I know, but why not get a 22 fret guitar?
I know.
You
Blue
that's-
notes.
Blue note, hashtag blue notes. But here's my other question. So let's say you're Gibson, okay, and you put out your base model P90,
Yeah.
okay? Wouldn't you consider like a different, like this P90 is going to sound good in 330s or the Epiphone cohort? What's that? Casino?
Yeah.
Or Les Paul specials?
Yeah. I mean, you
But
can
would you
kind of
make
say
a-
that, but like
but would
when
you
those
make go ahead?
when those guitars originally came out, they just had.
Well, I'm talking about now. I'm talking
but
about
I'm
now.
saying, like when they came out,
Right.
they just had their P90
Of
in
course.
it. And so you wouldn't. It wasn't really optimized for the position.
Right.
The difference of sound came from the position.
Right, of course.
So now you get into a discussion like, well, should we optimize pickups for
That's
the
what I was
position?
getting ready to say. Like, would you make one specifically for a
Right.
Les Paul Junior?
Right.
Because the Junior is completely different than the Casino or,
Yep.
or anything else they have.
Friend of mine from yesterday that had put the Fluence as a guitar. He's got one of those with the neck pickup way off of the neck. You know, And it's
Right.
like it's hiked. You know, an inch back or something.
So
you know,
would you make a pickup?
you can?
But
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to
Yeah,
sell
you
tens
can-
of them. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, you can change the pickup to sort of fit the location.
I just
but
didn't know
then,
if that was commonplace.
well,
for
but the
people.
problem is, so like, so every time you do that, when you say to sell tens of it, it's like
Right.
every time you do that,
You're
it'll be that
limiting.
the thing you did was more wrong for another guy.
Yes.
he goes, but I like this guitar.
Yes.
You know, why'd you make it sound more like the other one that has the pickup in the
Yes.
normal spot? So the only
Exactly.
exception is the 24 fret guitar thing.
Okay.
And yeah, most of the time, if somebody's really into like a slash neck pickup kind of sound, if you're playing a 24 fret guitar, it's going to be a lot harder to obtain.
Especially with the pickup ring. mounting ring,
It just is because the pickup is not listening in that place. I mean, another way to look at it is like this. We take these SM57 type microphones and we put them in a certain spot against a guitar 12-inch speaker, and that's what gets we move it around. We're like, that's where
There's
I
a
like it.
Great video on our channel. Actually, Brian did that.
Yes.
And he actually had the grill cloth
Grill
off of the
cloth off of
speaker,
it.
so you could actually physically
Right.
see right where he's moving it. And
Right.
boy, you can hear everything.
There's
Yeah.
a huge difference. And so then the thing is, well, if I'm going to take this microphone and I'm going to put it over here, and then I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. Well, does that mean like I could re-engineer a 57 type capsule to make it sound better, like when it was in the sweet spot? Like, no, that's a mechanical issue. You can't really overcome it. What happened?
No, it's extra microphone.
I'm good. I think. Am I? Yeah. Can you want to pan them left and right, and I'll do a little. I'll do a little pan.
I was trying to get different.
You know what?
Try to
That
get different
was totally
tones.
self-serving for me. So thank you, Frank, because that's something I've always wondered. You know what I mean? Like, is that my main question was, do modern manufacturers take different models into consideration? So with
there
24
are some,
frets, 24
yeah, there's
fret
some
guitars, they do.
pickups. Like sometimes people get a sense that like, you know, because DiMarzio has a strong association with Ibanez players and 24
Right.
fret guitars, and they're like, well, okay, so DiMarzio's pickups descriptions are probably going to be accurate in a guitar with 24 frets.
Right.
You know, like they made the pickup and it sounds this way, and this artist plays it, and he plays 24 fret guitars, so that's
Right.
going to be the right way to hear that pickup, or the more accurate way as far as how DiMarzio intended it for that artist is in a 24 fret guitar, not your Les Paul. And then you go to something like a Duncan or whatever, and it's vice versa. Thing about the Fluence pickups, that I mean, I have a friend, Greg Mara, who
Yeah,
put him
great
in.
guy, man.
He
Great
put
guitar
him
player.
in a 24 fret Ibanez, the classics, and that second voice of the neck pickup that's got like a deeper low mid range, but also like some crisp treble.
Mm-hmm.
Like in his 24 fret guitar, it sounds so good, but it also sounds like really 22 fretish too.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because
I mean,
it
I
just
don't
has
exactly
that
know what you mean. Because I'm not
throatiness.
trained there, but I know what you mean.
No, right, but it you know, it's
I follow.
it seems to have defied the laws of physics a bit in voice 2. In voice 1, it's very vintage PAF-ish. And so again, sounds great like in the guitar, but also still reveals that it's in a 24 fret position. And so his normal down position for the push-pull on both of those pickups is voice 2. He has it wired, backwards. Yeah, so the regular position is voice 2, and then you pull up on it, and it goes to the voice 1.
Okay, so now final thing, and I know we're running kind of long, but
Nah.
I have a guitar that
All right.
is being built for me right now.
Ah.
Okay, so it's essentially a double cutaway Les Paul special with humbuckers.
Yeah.
Okay, with a maple top. All right, 1/4-inch cap. What humbuckers do I want?
Oh my gosh, I can't. What?
You've heard me play. You
It's
know what I
a
like.
huge discussion.
I know. You've heard me play. Just you got. What would you sell me?
Well, we're done. It's the Fishman Fluence pickups.
All right, then I'm going to figure that out. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
figure out a
there's
way to
two
get that.
voices on it.
Okay.
You're guaranteed to love one of them. if not both. You know, what the heck, right?
Did you see Bob? Sorry, but no, sorry, Bob. That Bojo, if you will. Did you see what he wrote? But Tommy Boy reference. Somebody loves our Chris Farley references, by the way. It's on the paper. But
God bless you.
okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the those Fishman.
That's easy. Yeah, but classics, not the moderns.
The
but,
classics. Okay, well, cool. So Brian pulled a max this episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you didn't say much.
I was
Talk
like,
less than me.
yeah,
I tried to include you.
Yeah.
I tried
Yeah.
several times. I tried.
Travis talked
24
to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love this guy. No, guys, seriously, one more personal thing. You know, thank you guys for making the show what it is. Don't get me wrong. Without you guys, we'd still be doing it, just not with microphones and cameras. But, but no,
yeah.
seriously.
This
No, there would be microphones and cameras, but just pretend like nothing would be on.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny because the premise of the show was we should just put a mic in here like when we're driving to NAMM or something.
Yep.
In our car rides, we're all just talking about stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Yeah, that's what we did. But no,
Slow
guys.
clap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but thank you guys so much for making the show what it is, and obviously I'll keep tuning in, you know what I mean? And if you guys want me to be a guest, I'll definitely come on.
We'll have to Skype call you.
Skype call.
We're not going anywhere, or are we?
Or are we? Okay, so if you guys have any questions or comments, leave me out of it because I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Travis out.
No, but and sing. You told me I couldn't do that. No, it was you told me I couldn't do that. That's gonna
Sure
be
you
my
can.
last. That's
You
gonna be
haven't
my last
listened to me yet.
Now you're fired. So.
Now I'm fired. But no, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the YouTube section below. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Chasing Tone Podcast. Check out Max's blog, wamplerpedals.com/blog. ChasingTonePodcast.com. Come on. Wampler Pedals. What is it? Tone Group? Wampler Pedals?
I've lost count now.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Just
Just
Google
go.
Here's the
Wampler.
thing.
You'll
Here's the
find
thing.
something.
If you want to get a hold of us, you have multiple outlets, and we check them all daily.
Yeah.
More than daily.
Yes.
Several times a day. So if you guys have any questions or comments, shoot them to us, or to them, I should say. For Frank, Max, and Brian, I'm Travis. Thank you guys so much.